Onika, have you ever met anyone that had the same disorder as you?
Actually, I met someone at work a year ago who has the same disorder as me, but I never really dived into it with her. But I'm fortunate enough that today we're going to get that chance. Hey y'all, it's Onika.
And JR.
And you are dishing with Dainty Dish. How you doing today, JR?
I am doing fantastic, except for the fact that it is well past my bedtime right now. It's a little in the evening, but other than that, I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm doing amazing. Coming off of being on the State of Mind podcast, which can be found on the Apple Podcast button, just to promote it for Mike.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a really fun, joyous experience. Sharing my story with the listening audience, whoever they were. And he says it'll probably be aired in the next month or so.
Oh, nice. So you finally got to do that.
I finally got to do it, and it was really, really exciting.
Returning the favor.
Yeah, returning the favor. And he said he'll come back on our show anytime for any topic.
Wicked.
So that was pretty cool of him. But as I was saying at the top of the podcast, a year ago when I started work, I met a very special young lady. And we connected, but there was a distance. There was a distance for a little while. And I knew she had bipolar 1, but I feel like it was one of those things where she said she was bipolar, and I was like, oh, she's probably 2. Like, she's probably not 1. She's probably 2. And she might have said 1, but I didn't register it until recently. And we have her on the show today. I'm so excited. Like, so excited to talk to her about her story, her journey, you know, all that she's seen, all that she's done. So, Shelby, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Shelby. I met Onika about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, we weren't really close. I kind of keep to myself at work, so I don't reveal very much. And then I think just recently when I revealed that I was bipolar 1, then we really started to connect.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that with me, by the way. It's not easy sharing your diagnosis, but when you have someone that you know has gone through some of the similar situations that you've been through and I've been through, you feel like you found a kindred spirit.
100%.
Really.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. It feels really good.
It is good. It's nice to be able to have like ongoing communication with somebody that fully understands what I'm going through.
So let's just get into this. I'm so excited. Let's just get into this. Let's start with the early years, the wonder years. What was childhood like for you growing up?
It was good. We didn't have a lot of money, but my parents never really allowed us to see that very much. They tried to provide for us as much as they could and give us, like, you know, little extras here and there. I have a sibling. I have a younger brother. It was a pretty normal childhood. My parents are still together. My brother and I are really close. We have a cottage we spend a lot of time at. Yeah.
Okay.
That's amazing. Sorry. That's like, my parents are still together. We have a cottage. We spend time together. That's amazing. That's like the dream.
Oh my God, the cottage is amazing.
Love the cottage life.
Oh yeah,
the cottage life is an amazing life. Yes. So you're hanging out at the cottage, just with your baby brother and your parents, and you're growing, and things, I'm assuming, start to change at some point or another. Is it in your teen years that you're noticing some changes?
Yeah, really when I was 17 is really when things like came to a head. I was out of control. I was really irrational. My mood and behavior was really erratic. I threw an entire glass of milk at my dad's head for no reason. Things like that, and it just kind of like escalated until it was 4:00 in the morning one day, and I was cleaning my bedroom and reorganizing it. And my mom walked in and said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I said, "I'm just cleaning, Mom. It's okay. I just need to do this right now. I just need to clean. I just need to organize it. It just wasn't the way I wanted it, so I have to fix this." And then she said, that's enough. We're going to the doctor's tomorrow. So, and I feel like I didn't see myself being the way I was being. Like, those two incidences are the ones that really stand out in my mind only. I know there was more, and I know that I was doing other things and saying other things, but it's a blur to me. I don't remember those things. So, and then I went to the doctors, obviously. They tried to treat me with some natural remedies, like St. John's wort.
Okay. And what was that supposed to do? What was that supposed to do?
Yeah. Because they were just diagnosing me with the depression at the time. They didn't diagnose me with bipolar. So they were doing these treatments. It obviously weren't working. So then he put me on Wellbutrin as an antidepressant. And I maintained being on Wellbutrin for a while. I went away to university when I was 19. And I decided that I probably didn't need the Wellbutrin anymore. I was fine. That wasn't the case, obviously.
I've been on Wellbutrin. Wellbutrin paralyzed me for like 2 weeks.
Did it?
Yeah. Right, hit the muscles.
I'm back on it.
Are you?
Yep.
Oh, okay. How's it going?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I was off of it for years, but I'm back on it now.
Okay, so you decided when you were in college, so like you're speaking my truth right now. Like, do you have any idea how you're telling my story right now? Like, yeah, I was in college and I decided, well, who needs medication? Whatever, I don't need it.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was fine. I got this. So then I ended up like not going to class and not going to work, and I almost lost my job, and I started doing erratic things again. I started doing drugs. And like drinking and partying all the time and meeting new people, and then I had a crash, and I didn't want to leave my house, and I didn't want to get dressed, and I didn't want to shower. So it finally got to the point where I went to the doctors, and I realized like I have to do something. I can't keep doing this. So I think it was a lot to school. Like, I enjoy being in school. And I think that like a lot of the motivation was to go back to class. So my doctor said, well, we'll try you on this other medication, and we'll come, and then we'll start seeing a psychologist and go from there. So I was on a different medication. I can't even remember the name of it now.
There's so many.
I was on like they rotated me through a few different ones to try to like get the right one.
Cocktails, yeah.
And I started seeing a psychologist, and that's when I got diagnosed as bipolar 1. I was 20.
Wow. That's really early onset. Like, I thought early onset was 24.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was 20. But I think that, like, I had been bipolar since I was 16, 17, for sure. Yeah. So then, but I refused to go on lithium. I didn't want to go on lithium at all. I didn't want to have this mind-altering drug that would control me and change, like, chemically alter my brain waves, and I didn't want any part of that. So I really just tried to fight it on my own and take just an antidepressant and just deal with it. And then I did it again where I went off my medication. I decided that I don't need this. And that's when things got really out of control. I was very promiscuous and like dangerously, like I wasn't caring. I was doing a lot of hardcore drugs. I was partying all the time. I wasn't going to classes. If I met these people one weekend, I'd be out with them the next. Like, I was really erratic. It got to the point where my mom had called me one day, and I was reorganizing my kitchen to the point where I had taken everything out of every drawer and every cupboard and off every shelf and had it in a big circle around me on the floor. And she called me and asked me what I was doing, and I don't even know if I was like making sense to her. I think I was so high that I wasn't even like, not high on drugs, like high like manic,
yeah.
That I wasn't like, I was just rambling and thoughts were firing so quickly. I wasn't communicating properly. And she said, "We're coming to get you." And her and my aunt came to get me, and it was so out of control that my mom and my aunt were there in Ottawa to come and get me, and I was out doing MDMA that night. They were there at my house waiting for me, and I was out doing drugs with strangers.
Wow.
So, and then my parents took me home, and took me to the doctor, and the doctor said to me, "You need to go on lithium immediately, or we're institutionalizing you." And I decided that I didn't want to go into be institutionalized, so I went on lithium.
What was the push against lithium? What exactly was it for you?
Because I had a really hard time with the diagnosis. I didn't want to believe it was true. I didn't think that this was me. I didn't want medication to control who I was. I didn't want to feel like I felt like this is the person I'm supposed to be. This is who I am, so this is who I'm supposed to be. So why do I need medication to change that and to make me somebody I'm not? Or make me somebody that's more acceptable? But really, like, that's not the case, obviously.
Really? That's not the case. I was manic. AF.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing made sense. Especially you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've like, I can't even, like, I'm listening to you and I'm just like, check, like, down to the trip to Ottawa, like,
Yeah, which is crazy. It's
not
crazy
nuts?
that we went to university in Ottawa
at the same time. I went to Carleton.
Yeah.
You went to Ottawa.
Well, yeah.
And it, like, this could have been happening, like, in tandem with each other.
100%.
It's crazy. It's crazy, guys. My mind is being blown right now. You have no idea. So you decided, you made the decision to take the lithium. What led you to that conclusion? Was it simply, I just cannot be institutionalized? And were you ever institutionalized?
I was hospitalized overnight once, but I was released into my parents' care. I guess actually it was a 72-hour.
It was a 72-hour
Yeah,
hold.
it was a 72-hour hold. Yeah, it wasn't overnight. It was 72 hours. And then I was released into my parents' care. And then I lived with my parents at that time. So, but...
I was asking about the lithium.
Yeah,
like,
the pushback. Right?
What was the pushback? Like, what was the factor that helped you decide? You know, I have to do this. Was it the institutionalizing?
100%. I was afraid. I didn't want to be put in the hospital, like, for an extended period of time, not having communication with people, and, you know, having that, like, restraint put on me. I was terrified of that. So I decided that obviously the lithium was a better decision than to go to the hospital. And my mom influenced me. My mom is, like, an advocate for me, and she's really, like, a strong support. And she influenced me and said, like, this is what you need to do. Like, I'm not gonna, like, you want to be in the hospital for X amount of time and then just wait it out? Is that what you really want to do? Is that how you want to live your life? Or do you want to take care of it? So
Tough love.
yeah, my mom is very very tough love to the point.
What's your relationship like with your parents now?
So my father and I don't get along. We've never really got along. It's better now than it's ever been in my life, and we barely talk. But my mom and I are very close.
Okay.
Yeah, I talk to my mom almost daily.
So she's part of your team?
100%.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's neat. I don't know, how does having bipolar 1 affect your relationships and your work life? Because I know I talked to Onika about this on a regular, but it'd be interesting to see how, from someone else's perspective, like how do you feel it affects?
I think it could put a strain on relationships for sure. People, as much as they try to understand, they don't fully understand. And same with, like, accept, right? As much as they try to fully accept, maybe they don't. So there's that little bit of strain and misunderstanding. Work, I find I can get like I'll call in sick a lot, or I just like, don't want to be there. It's a difficulty for me, especially if I'm not enjoying my job. If I don't love my job, I don't want to be there.
So we spoke about previously about your passion.
Yes.
And just art,
Yeah.
right? So, and painting. So that's your passion.
Yeah.
So do you see yourself in the next, let's say, 5-10 years of trying to find a way to incorporate your passion and to try to even make it something that's a viable option for a living to some degree? Do you think about that?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I would love to, like I was saying before, like be a curator is my dream.
Yeah.
But I like doing freelance. I would never want to get away from that because that, like, creating is really my passion. So I would love to expand that, and like if I could find a way to make painting my career, that would be ideal.
Okay. Great, neat. So I guess I'm just gonna go off and ask some questions.
Yeah, go for it.
Is being creative something that is part of like a person that's bipolar? Is that
Yes.
something that's common?
It is, yeah.
Because I look at it now, I'm like, well, Kanye West was like is and still remains one of my favorite rappers, and like he's now like bipolar. I guess
he was always bipolar.
Yeah, I just watched an interview with him about it.
Did you watch the
David Letterman?
Yeah,
wow. So good.
Really good.
So
really
good.
Yeah. So
I
mean,
haven't
so
seen it yet.
you
I
can
should
catch
you should
up.
watch it.
I'm gonna watch it on YouTube.
So that's
tonight.
kind of like, okay, so he's got this, and even when he says things, you're like, even though you're like, sometimes you're like, maybe you're crazy, but then you're like, dude, you make a lot of
genius.
You're making a lot of sense right now. Like if I slow down and just like, okay, process this,
catch up with you.
You're making a lot of sense. And do you feel like that happens sometimes in your life, that like you're just ahead of somebody and other people in the thought process? So you already see the vision, you have the vision, you feel like it's already there, it's already happening, but people just haven't caught up to you yet?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah?
That answers so much. Speaking the truth today about bipolar 1, like, oh my
So I
god.
guess-
Your mind, like my mind races.
Yeah, racing thoughts,
So-
racing
thoughts.
speech.
Yeah.
So how do you get through the day working, like, I guess to say, like, I know what you guys do, so I'm just gonna say like a mundane job where it's just like really, like, it's really just the same thing day after day after day. Like, how do you get through that? Like, how does that really truly affect your bipolar? Like, because you want to be creative, you want to do dynamic things, but you're stuck in this I don't know.
Dead end job.
Yeah. It's very suppressing.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
I agree.
And I feel like the struggle is there of like, I know I am better than this. I know I can be doing better than this. But sometimes the bipolar holds me back, right? Because I'm not as stable as other people, or I might not say the right thing every time, or my mind races, so I might say something kind of like off the cuff, and that people don't like really appreciate or understand. So,
Does your mind still race?
every now and then, yeah, yeah.
Even on the Wellbutrin? I haven't had racing thoughts in a while.
I have it, especially at night. I find I struggle like right before bed when I lay down to bed. That's when my mind goes like crazy. I have a hard time. Yeah. Sometimes I have to take like medication to help me fall asleep.
Yeah, I take meds to sleep. I'm sedated.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out within, like...
I also take Latuda.
Oh.
Sorry, I was like picturing like the actual like the chemical name. What is it? Latuda as well.
Yeah, I
And I'm
remember
on-
Latuda. I've taken that one.
I'm on a fairly high dose of that.
Okay.
So that helps sedate me a little bit, but my mind just goes nightly. Yeah.
I can't even imagine having my mind race all the time and not being able to sleep. Like, a certain time comes around, I'm like, well, time to go to sleep now. I'm just going to put my head down.
Like, he's asleep sometimes before I leave even the apartment.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, out. I'm out. I'm done. It's this time of night, and this is when I sleep, so get the hell out of my apartment.
I wish it could be like that. It takes me a really long time to fall asleep. And then if I wake up in the night, my mind races again, and I have a really hard time falling back asleep.
So what do you do in those types of situations?
So technically you're supposed to get out of bed. So if you're not sleeping, my doctor says get out of bed.
Okay.
Go to the couch, read a book, do something else to like activate your mind, and then try to like settle down and go back to bed.
Oh.
You know what I found helped in the last, and I've only been doing it for 32 days, and it records it on my cell phone. That's why I know the time. Meditating.
Yeah.
Meditating has really helped me fall asleep a lot faster.
Yeah.
Than I was before. Because, I mean, I felt like maybe you were talking about racing thoughts during the day. I didn't even think about, like, the thoughts that you'd have, like, at night. Like, you know, when you have the manic racing during the day. Like, I know what that, like, at night racing thought feels like. So I started meditating with this, like, awesome Muse headset thing. And it reads my brainwaves and it records how calm I am. And it's, like, it's pretty neat. And it's helped me fall asleep a lot faster as the days have gone by. So,
yeah. I used to meditate often. Within the last year or so, though, I've gotten out of it. No real reason.
No, you're like, no real reason.
No reason. I just stopped.
Were you finding that it wasn't working, or?
Oh, no. I loved it. Yeah.
Bipolar.
Yep.
Cheers.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. I just like, and it's not that I don't want to do it. I just don't have any interest in it right now.
No motivation.
No motivation to do it.
No, none whatsoever. Like when my body says to stop getting up at 5 in the morning, because I've been doing it for 32 days, exactly. And when my body says stop getting up at 5 in the morning, it will be just me versus my mind, like my own mind to stop, like to say no and still get up.
Yeah.
And I anticipate that being around like October, November. You know, that's when it'll be like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of all those the different like times you're throwing out there, do you ever have any issues with SADS?
Like seasonal
Affective disorder.
I didn't know the actual words. I was just trying to skate by without actually having to find the actual acronym. But okay, yeah, that's exactly seasonal affective disorder. Yes.
Yes, I would say that I become depressed in the winter. I have more lows in the winter.
When do you find
Really?
you bounce back? Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it consistent? Do you find this is like a cycle that you go through every year?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. And then I usually have a manic period in September.
Just happens.
Just happens. Usually mid-September, mid to end September. Yep. Which is crazy. It happens like on schedule, but
Yeah, mine happens now.
So describe a manic episode. Like describe what is that? What's that like?
so I know that I'm starting to become manic when I start making lists.
Okay.
I make lists of everything, of what I need to do, what I need to buy, what I want to, like, what I want to become, what I want my partner to become, what I want my dog to do, like everything you can think of, I make a list of. And then I stop sleeping.
Okay.
And I stop eating. And I just need to like go. Like I want to be doing a million things, and I'll start a million things and I'll never finish anything. So I'll start a painting and I won't finish it. I'll start reading a book, I won't finish it. I'll, anything like that. I'll start reorganizing the house, I won't finish it. So it's, yeah.
So how does your have you and your partner been together for some time now? Or?
6 years.
Okay. So how does your partner kind of help with these different cycles or this that you go through? Like what is your partner's role? I'm just curious. Just like how does it work?
So actually, he was recently diagnosed with bipolar 2.
Oh, okay.
Last year. Okay. So he's very understanding, but it can be a struggle with us both being bipolar, because we can butt heads or like not be in the right mind frame to understand each other or to be compassionate for each other about what's happening. So it can put strain, but then it can also like create this like unbelievable bond, and we understand each other more than anybody else, and we're more compassionate and we share more and things like that. But it can go both ways, I find.
Okay. So were you a part of, I guess, his discovery of his bipolar just because of being around and saying, hey, there's something that you should be checking out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that he's actually been bipolar since he was a child, and he was misdiagnosed. He was misdiagnosed with ADHD.
Oh, okay.
And they gave him ADHD medication and made him worse. And his parents never looked into it any further. And then I came around and I was like, there's something going on here. Like, this isn't right. And there's more than what you think. And then we went and saw a psychiatrist at CAMH.
Okay.
CAMH,
Yeah.
good old CAMH.
Good old CAMH.
It's a good place. I've had quite my few run-ins with CAMH.
My crazy is in the Durham region, so I didn't get any run-ins with CAMH. At least not yet.
Yeah.
So you were earlier talking about. I'm just curious about the drugs. Like, I just want to know, like, what were the drugs? What were you up to? Like,
I was drinking heavily. I was smoking marijuana. I was doing cocaine. I was doing MDMA, ecstasy, kind of the same thing. Speed. I think that's about it.
and you never experienced drug-induced psychosis?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Wow, that's it. It's all drug-induced psychosis over here.
No, it was all natural for me.
Okay. So bipolar 1 explains, like, to perfection just now, like, what it is, what it feels like, what it sounds like, what it tastes like the whole shebang bang. But who are you today? Like, who are you knowing you have this diagnosis, as the doctors will tell us we'll have it for the rest of our lives? Cross our fingers we won't. But knowing what you know now and that you didn't know then, who are you today?
I'm stronger. I'm a stronger person, for sure. I'm more confident. I think before, when things were really bad, before I was diagnosed, I think that I was really, like, insecure, and I was confused about what was happening with me. And I knew that, like, sure, there was something wrong, like, I wasn't quite right, but I didn't exactly know what was going on. So I think that made me kind of, like, a little more introverted. And now I'm very, like, bold. I would be very honest. I'm in your face.
No time to waste.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all.
And you said you were very, like, you were introvert. When was the I feel like everybody has that moment where they realize they're in the mental health, like, the realm. They're in the territory. They're in the sphere.
Yeah.
Like, when was that for you exactly?
I think before I was taken home from Ottawa. I think that was really when I was like, okay, like, there's something serious here. Like, I need to take this seriously. I need to get control of my life, because it's out of control. So I think that's when really it, like, hit home, and, like, when my parents came and got me, and I think that's when I was like, okay, like, I can't handle my life on my own.
And how do you find you handle things now?
A lot better. I still struggle. I don't think that the struggle is ever going to go away. I think that it's part of the condition. But I'm more aware of my triggers. I'm more aware of my symptoms of like oncoming, like emotions and the symptoms and things like that. So, like, I can tell if I'm going into a manic period. I'm more aware of, like, these are the symptoms, these are the signs that this is happening. Whereas when I was younger, if I was going into a manic period, I would just let it happen. I would just be like, yep, this is happening. Like, this is what this is the way I'm supposed to be. Yeah, so now I can, like, actively fight that. Not that it works, but I can, like, be like, take that step back and, like, be like, okay, you're being a little erratic. Like, you need to step back and remove yourself for a minute. Whereas, like, before, like, that wasn't even a thought. Like, I would just be erratic. I would just be wild and not even consider about how I was affecting other people, how I was affecting my life, like, anything like that. I just lived.
Like, secretly, don't you love the living, though?
Yes.
Oh, God. Thank God someone said it other than me. Don't you love the living?
Yes.
Mm.
Oh, so much.
So much.
If it wasn't so unhealthy, I would just be manic all the time.
Me too. Oh my gosh, if I knew they were gonna lock me up and strap me down.
I'm just feeling so good.
I'd just be in the streets spending money and just doing awful things, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, spending money. Oh, man.
Oh, how was that for you?
Brutal. In university, I spent $800 in one day. Like, I had it. I didn't have $800.
Like I had it. My girl said I spent $800 one day like I had it. Remember the Canadian Tire credit card? Shout out to Canadian Tire. Haven't paid it back yet. 3 hours in the mall, just boom.
Yep.
I went and basically told them, listen, I have a credit card. I need to blow this today, so just sell me something. Yeah. I don't care what it is. Just sell me something. Like,
yeah, I was just like, that huge hat, I want it. Like, oh, that necklace, I want it. Oh, that ridiculous coat, I'm gonna buy it. Like, I wore the hat once. Like,
I wore my J's once.
Yeah,
like
I didn't use the stuff. I
always buy a fancy dress after I leave the hospital. I'll go to like a fancy dress shop and I'll buy a fancy dress. I ordered a dress I couldn't fit into. I've yet to wear it. I can't. I'm just growing, so like I've yet to wear it, but I still have it in my closet. Yeah. Just buy fancy dresses sometimes, for yourself.
You just need to feel pretty.
Yeah, that's all it is. One time I bought a purple one.
Nice.
It was super purple.
Really?
I never wore it. I made my mom pay for it. I never wore it.
Oh my gosh.
But there was another question, but I was just like, I just wanted to know that one so bad. Like, don't you wish it was all the time?
Oh, yes. You just feel good.
Yeah.
You've got lots of energy.
Your metabolism is
great.
Like crazy.
Yeah. You don't like...
You see colors brighter.
Yeah. Everything is more vibrant and like...
Do dogs like you more?
Exciting.
Do dogs seem to like you more when you're...
I don't know. Dogs like me anyways.
Oh, okay. Okay, I feel like dogs like me more when I'm manic.
Really?
You glow.
You give off a different energy, right?
And you get a lot of crazy people. And I'm saying crazy because I can use that word. We talked about language. They just come up to you. They just approach you like they can sense your energy.
Yes! Oh my gosh. And like if... It doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh.
So like if I'm sitting on the bus by myself, there could be no one else on the bus, and a crazy person walks on, that person is sitting beside me, guaranteed,
like touching you or something, like you're the only one. Like, yeah.
The whole time, for sure. Every time.
I know about that. Bipolar one.
They just know.
They just know. They sense it.
Yeah.
It's instinctive.
Like drawn to you.
You're just drawn in. Like, oh my gosh.
You're one of us? Like that kind of thing?
Yeah, you're one of us. Okay.
Join the dark side.
Yeah, come over to the dark side. Come over. Yeah, I just this has been amazing. This is amazing. I feel like I have so many more questions.
Ask away.
Oh my gosh, what do I want to ask? The hypersexual.
Go ahead, Nick.
The hypersexuality. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yep.
So how random is with me it was random.
It was random.
Like super random.
Like random as fuck.
Like
picking them up on the bar, picking them up online.
Yeah, I was just out and about.
Yep.
Just on the street.
On the street, in the mall.
Yeah, wherever.
Yep. So you're saying when I feel special, when a girl comes up to me, I gotta just
she could be manic.
Be on guard.
She could be manic. She could have been manic.
She could be manic. If she's willing to take you into an alley,
special. You're just in the right place at the right time.
Right place, right time.
Yep.
That's exactly
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. That's hilarious.
I once tried to pick up a Bell phone operator, just outside of my house. Like,
really?
I told him I had an assignation, if you will. I told him to come back, but by the time he came back at night, I was already in the hospital. I don't know if he came back. Probably did, though.
Yeah.
Promised him a good time. Yeah, oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah. Totally random. And I didn't care. And I just wanted them, that moment, for that thing, second, and that was it. And I never wanted to see them again.
Don't you feel very, animalistic?
Very much so.
When you're in a manic state?
It's very raw.
It's very just very animalistic, very like whatever you need, whatever you want in that moment, you have to get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't, like, God help the person standing in front of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You both are just shaking your heads in unison right now. I'm like, okay, cool. I get it.
It's wild. It's wild.
It is wild to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, not think that you're doing anything wrong.
Yeah, you have no empathy, you have no sympathy for anyone.
No, not at all. You're selfish.
You're going through psychosis.
Yeah,
like,
you're concerned about how you feel in that moment and what you want to do in that moment, and you're going to do it.
No matter what, no matter if it's a danger to yourself or the people around you.
100%. It doesn't matter. That desire has to be met.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what the circumstances or what the like repercussions of it are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds about accurate.
Yeah. So, Shelby? Do you have any regrets?
I like to say I live with no regrets because I think that everything that has happened to me and I've done has made me who I am today, and I don't think that I would change who I am today. So I think that I don't really have regrets as much as it wasn't healthy. And I shouldn't have been doing the things I was doing. I definitely don't regret them.
I like that. No regrets.
Because who would you be if you regretted everything that you've done? Who would you be today?
I'd certainly be one to be me, and you wouldn't be you.
I'd still be JR, just a different version of it.
Yeah.
Maybe like not the better version, though.
I don't think the better version. Because what is benefiting you by regretting something?
It's weird that you say that. Someone was asking me about like forgiveness today, and you might not regret, but there's certain things like in your life that you've done. Do you feel that any of it you need to forgive yourself for?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Do you know the difference?
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that I have no regrets, but there's definitely things that I judge myself for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have to forgive and let go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not big on forgiveness.
Even to yourself?
I don't think I've done anything that I need to forgive myself for.
Well, aren't you lucky?
No, I just
living a charmed life over here.
I mean, just one lines of, if it happened, it happened. I made a conscious decision to make it happen. Even if it was a bad decision, I still made a conscious decision to make it happen.
But her decisions aren't conscious.
I know that. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to throw something into the conversation. No regrets.
No regrets. Yeah, I feel like the forgiveness piece is the hardest piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
There are places I won't even go to because I had a manic episode there, or I did some crazy something or another there. I walked down naked down the street there, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. I won't even touch that place again.
Yeah.
Because I'm so ashamed and so embarrassed of some of the things that I have done in my manic state, and the people that I affected as well. So I completely get how forgiveness can be one of the most challenging parts, I think, of
100%.
This disorder.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah,
because it's easy to say, like I said, no regrets, whatever's happened, and this is who I am today because of it. But the forgiveness factor is huge, and I think that is a way more of a struggle than saying, I don't regret that.
Mm-hmm.
Because forgiveness is harder than saying, I don't regret that, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Shelby, my darling Shelby, thank you so very much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me.
This was the insight that you've given me. I'm not alone.
Oh.
I'm not alone. There's someone who's gone through similar things as me. It's almost the same story. I'm not even joking you. Maybe you should share the rights to my book. It's almost the same story.
That's crazy. It's crazy to see the parallel, right?
The parallel, yeah.
And the same disorder, and then the parallel between the two of us.
Yeah. Coming from different backgrounds, different cultures.
Yeah, but like you said, both ended up in Ottawa, both ended up in university, which is a rarity for people with bipolar 1.
Yeah.
They don't go to university.
No, they don't. They finish high school and that's it.
Exactly. If they finish high school.
If they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, as I said, for sharing your story with us today. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
I don't think so.
You're like, no, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good. Any final words of wisdom to all those listeners out there who might be going through the same thing we are and we just don't know it?
Just don't be afraid. Just get help. Don't be afraid. Like, forget the stigma around it. Be confident in who you are, and in what's happening with you is, you know, it's going to get better.
I'm going to throw an amen in that. Well, if you guys want to reach Shelby just to share how much you enjoyed her story today, because God knows I loved it. I loved it. So if you want to share the same emotion, JR, please tell them how they can reach us.
Yes, most definitely. You can reach us at dysh, D-Y-S-H, at daintydysh.com. That's DAINTY-DYSH.com. Thank you so much for listening to us. Shelby, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your time this evening. It was a great experience. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts,
give us a 5.
Thank you so much for listening to us. If you're listening to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, any of those other platforms where you listen to your podcast, thank you so much for listening. We truly appreciate you. That's it for me. My name's JR.
Thanks for sharing. That, ladies and gents, has been the dish of the day. And I hope you all have yourselves a very, very, very happy hump day.